Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is lap guide for Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps under wet conditions. Let's get this started. For your first turn, you want to start to brake before you reach the 100-meter mark. Brake as much as you can in a straight line, then slowly ease off on the brakes as you start to turn in. Wait until your car is pointing straight towards where you want to go before you start to fully accelerate. When you get on the curb that is on the left, that is when you will start to brake. However, you'll be using a very quick, short burst of braking. Then use a little bit of throttle to bring yourself to the right curb, and then you can slowly start to fully accelerate. If done right, you can get a very good exit speed on top of our rouge while making sure that you don't end up getting an off-track penalty. For this turn, you want to brake well before you reach the 100-meter mark. Brake as much as you can in a straight line, then slowly ease off on the brakes. You have to use a lot of throttle control as you go through these turns. Do not get on the dark green AstroTurf as they severely increase your chances of getting spun out. Also be very careful when getting on the yellow and red curbs as they can also spin you out. Then brake well before the curb on the left starts, and brake a little bit before I do as I ended up going a little bit wide. But either way, just be very careful on your throttle input. Wait until the car is going straight before you start to fully accelerate. Then brake very early for this turn, and you just want to let the car cruise for a moment. Just let it rotate through the turn and slowly apply the throttle. Stay on the right side of the track and use the 50-meter sign as your braking point. Brake right before it starts, and you want to trail brake your way through this first half of the Puhan turns, and be absolutely careful with your throttle input as well over here. Try not to accelerate on the yellow and red curb as they increase your chances of spinning out. Then brake well before you reach the arch with the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps sign. Trail brake your way into this first half of the turn, then use a lot of throttle control for the remaining turns. Wait until your car is pointing straight before you fully accelerate, then brake well before the curb on the left starts, and you just want to take your time. Just get the car to rotate, get it pointing where you want it to go, and then slowly start to accelerate. Ease off the throttle as you make this right turn. Do not fully accelerate on the curb that is on the left, and once again, do not get on the green AstroTurf that is also on the left. For this left turn, you'll be using a small amount of braking for a short time, and you'll also let the car cruise for a moment, so no throttle nor braking input. Just make sure the car doesn't go too wide through the turn, then brake right before you reach the 150-meter mark. For these final two turns, just make sure that the car rotates as quickly as possible and apply a careful amount of throttle so you don't initiate any oversteer. And once again, just be very careful on the throttle input and you are good to go. Let's go ahead and talk about the strategy. Alright, so for this race, there's only one strategy, and that is to survive. Alright, I'm kidding, but when it comes to the race itself, you want to make sure that you don't have to refuel at all. The tires are nothing to worry about too much. You still have to take care of them, but they don't wear enough to where you have to go for a tire change. But when it comes to the fuel, you have to adjust the fuel mapping and short shift along the way to make sure that you finish the race without running out of fuel at all. So I have this mini map drawn out here showing where I have the fuel map at when I'm in those sections. So for the first sector of the track, all the way to where you see the red slash on top of the image, that is where I'm at fuel map 1. Then as I approach the next turn, go down to fuel map 2 or 3 depending on the fuel economy of the car. As I approach the Puhan corners, that is when I go to fuel map 1, eventually go down to fuel maps 2 or 3. Then on the back straight, go on fuel map 1, and for the bus stop corners, right before the finish line, that is when you can go down to fuel map 2. And throughout the race, I'm shifting when the bar is between 50 to 75% full. And when you're on the fast section, so free map 1, you can kind of break this rule by shifting when the bar is full, but you just want to be careful because once again, you run the risk of running out of fuel if you hang out when the bar is full for too long. And as you probably know, since this is a wet track, you have to be absolutely careful when you're going through this track because as you see here, I thought I had a good exit when the car decided that it just had enough of me, spun out on me, and I made myself look very silly. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this guide. Just make sure you short shift along the way, adjust your fuel mapping along the way, take care of your rear tires, especially your rear tires, so you don't end up spinning out, and use lots and lots of throttle control so you don't end up spinning out. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this guide. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. MCA, try not to spin out, and I'll see you in the next video.